The goal of this video is to explain what the Any% speedrun is and the reasoning behind the current route. I'll be addressing a lot of pretty common questions so that you can better understand what's going on when watching Breath of the Wild Any%. If you're unfamiliar with speedrunning, Any% means beating the game with Any% completion, and along with 100% is one of the two universal categories you'll see for almost every game. Different games can have different definitions of completion, but generally Any% means getting to the credits as fast as possible without restrictions. Breath of the Wild is an open-world game which gives the player the freedom to go wherever they want after completing the Great Plateau tutorial section, even if that means going straight to the final boss. This means that while the game is huge and can take people hundreds of hours to complete, it was designed in a way that lends itself to an extremely fast Any% speedrun. With that being said, let's get into the run.
Réveille-toi.
Every Breath of the Wild run starts with the completion of the Great Plateau. The game forces you to complete the 4 shrines by locking the paraglider behind the collection of 4 spirit orbs. While it may seem like the paraglider isn't necessary with all the crazy glitches Breath of the Wild has to offer, there's currently no way to skip it. Trying to leave the plateau early results in Link voiding out and being placed back at the Shrine of Resurrection. Additionally, you need to get every rune even if you don't use them. If you try to skip one, the monk forces you to go back and grab it anyway. The only rune we really use is bombs, so if we could somehow skip the long rune collection cutscene for the other 3 runes, we could save a ton of time. However, we can skip the opening cutscene as well as activating the Great Plateau Tower. By clipping out of bounds, we can exit the Shrine of Resurrection without watching the opening cinematic. This is convenient because it both skips a long cutscene and locks time of day to 5:15 AM, which prevents bad weather and stall enemies from appearing. Similarly, we can skip activating the tower, which is normally needed to enter shrines, by clipping through the shrine walls and entering the elevator inside. This saves a lot of time because it skips a very long cutscene of Link getting the map, and it lets us take a more direct path to the first shrine. By not activating the tower, we won't be able to warp to shrines, but since this is Any%, we don't need to. For the order of the shrines, we go to the Bomb Shrine first. It's the fastest shrine to get to, and also gives us the ability to use BLSS, the bomb hovering glitch, and Wind Bombs, the bomb launching glitch, for the rest of the Great Plateau. Before BLSS was discovered, there wasn't a fast enough way to move between the shrines to make getting bombs first worth it, and so we used to go to stasis first and use bullet time bounces to go from shrine to shrine. Next we go to the Magnesis Shrine because it's the closest. Now that we have bombs, every shrine interior uses a wind bomb to skip to the end, which saves quite a bit of time. After that, we need to get to either Stasis or Cryonis. Both routes take approximately the same amount of time, but getting to Stasis is easier because it doesn't require a bullet time bounce. Then it's just a BLSS over to Cryonis, and we're done with the shrines. With the 4 spirit orbs collected, we can go meet the old man at the top of the Temple of Time to collect the paraglider. Because the Cryonis shrine is higher than the spot we're trying to get to, we can just BLSS over and land with a glitch to cancel fall damage. With the Great Plateau complete, the goal is to get to the castle and collect enough equipment to be able to kill not just Calamity, but also the Blights as well. If you don't kill the Blight forms of Ganon and their respective divine beasts, they get recalled to the castle to make the fight even harder as a way to incentivize the player to play through more of the game. However, with the level 3 attack up meal and some carefully picked weapons, the extra bosses aren't a problem. Our route through the castle passes by a cooking pot so that we can cook the level 3 attack up meal we need, and grabs a couple of very strong weapons and ancient arrows. The weapon routing we use doesn't rely on any RNG arrow drops, so the fights are much more consistent than previous routes, but the durability routing is extremely tight. After some creative movement through the castle, we start the boss rush. Dying at any point during the many different boss phases before Dark Beast will send you back to the beginning, making for an intense ending to the run. We start things off with Windblight Skip, a trick that allows us to kill Windblight with a single arrow. Essentially, we're able to shoot the arrow so that it's positioned where Windblight's head is as we enter the cutscene, which constantly deals damage until Windblight dies. This is really convenient because it saves a lot of time over fighting Windblight normally and reduces the number of weapons we need to grab overall. The rest of Blights is spent trying to end each phase before the Blight can warp away, using a lot of two-handed weapon spinning and headshots. These fights are very scripted, and while there are minor differences in the attack and movement patterns you can get, they don't really affect us because we tend to kill the Blights before their attacks have a chance to hit Link. But that doesn't mean it's easy. Any mistakes here can put you in a really awkward position because of how tight the durability routing is. We only have 4 weapons, 1 bow, 7 normal arrows, and 3 ancient arrows, so everything has its use. Calamity Ganon has 2 phases. In the first phase, we use a combination of flurry rushing, laser parrying, spin to win, and a whole lot of headshots to melt through the first half of Calamity's health bar. There's some weapons scattered around the edge of the room, so we get to pick up 10 bomb arrows and another Royal Claymore. For phase 2, we can perform a stun lock to efficiently kill Calamity, essentially ignoring its invulnerability. After parrying a laser to get rid of its shield, we can spin with a two-handed weapon, and as long as we slam the weapon at the right time, Calamity will continue to be stunned. And after all of that, we have to fight Dark Beast Ganon. But if you've played the game before, you'll know it's really just an interactive cutscene where you wait for Zelda to tell you to shoot at its weak points. Even if you were to die here, the game respawns you at the beginning of Dark Beast, so it's even more forgiving. We do our best to speed things up by using certain notes in the music as cues to fire the arrows so that they hit the weak points as soon as they appear, but this only saves a couple of seconds. We fire the final shot, and the run comes to an end. Breath of the Wild Any% is a really fun run with a lot of eye-catching glitches and strategies. There's a lot to learn at the start, but the community is really welcoming, and there's a lot of good resources to help. If you're interested in trying it out, check out the description below, and I'll link some of the resources I think will be the most helpful for getting started. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like or subscribing. If you have any questions about the run, feel free to leave a comment and I'll answer to the best of my abilities.